Good evening. Welcome to Northbeat. I'm Megan Roberts. A video posted on Facebook shows a youth in Betchacon being dragged across the snow by police officers during an arrest 10 days ago. Police say the youth was arrested and charged for punching an officer. A warning that this story includes a video that might be distressing. Luke Carroll has more.
The girl in this video is 16 years old. She says police dragged her across the snow, and she nearly lost her shirt and pants in the process. This video was filmed by her friend and posted on Facebook. We can't confirm whether it's been edited or if there's more. The 16-year-old girl gave us permission to share the video to show her experience. She says she felt humiliated. She admits she was intoxicated, but says the officers didn't need to be so aggressive and shouldn't have placed her in a holding cell for 13 hours. CBC News isn't naming her to protect her identity as a youth. Police say they were at the house because of reports of a fight. That's when the incident involving the 16-year-old girl happened. They say the youth was arrested for allegedly punching an officer in the face. Police say there will be no internal review of the incident. Tom Engel is the chair of the Alberta-based Criminal Trial Lawyers Association's Policing Committee. CBC News sent him the video and discussed the details of the incident with him.
She shouldn't have been taken into custody in the first place. Not unless they thought that she was going to repeat the crime or wouldn't show up at court or something like that.
The 16-year-old's mother says she will be filing a civilian complaint on the officer's conduct. Luke Carroll, CBC News, Yellowknife.
Complaints from some medical patients have prompted the Dayton Cho Corporation to look at other options for boarding. People from all across the Northwest Territories travel to Yellowknife for medical care. Usually, patients stay at Kaskori boarding home, but if it's full, hotels are used. And for patients booked at one hotel, the experience can be far from healing. Sarah Kromolowski brings us the story.
Sigachik resident Edward Wright came to Yellowknife last September for a medical issue. He was placed at the Quality Inn downtown, and he said that he had to wait hours before he could check in. And during the night, he heard shouting and loud noises that made it difficult to sleep.
It's not a pleasant experience for someone like myself, let alone other people who are more vulnerable and older and who have young children.
He isn't the only one who thinks there's a problem. The Gwich'in Tribal Council made a public call for the territory and the boarding home's owner to stop working with the Quality Inn.
Too often I'm seeing and hearing individuals that are forced to put up with some of these unacceptable conditions because many people are just happy with what they receive.
He says Gwich'in residents have complained to him about dirty and cold rooms at the Quality Inn. But the biggest issue was people saying they don't feel safe at the hotel or in the area around it. Dayton Cho Corporation owns Kaskori Boarding Home through a subsidiary. They say they're aware of the complaints and they're working to respond to them. Dayton Cho employer Rebecca Connolly said that they've started booking patients at other Yellowknife hotels, but hotels are busy right now and they don't always get a lot of choice in what rooms are available to book. CBC reached out to Quality Inn about the complaints but didn't get a response. Sarah Kromolowski, CBC News, Yellowknife.
Deadly and devastating. That is how leaders in the Sawtooth describe the drug situation in their communities. In recent weeks, the RCMP have seized hard drugs, weapons, and stacks of cash going into the region. And the Sawtooth Secretariat Chair says several young people have died from toxic drugs in recent years. He and another Sawtooth leader are raising the alarm, and they have direct experience in the matter. Charles McNeely and Ethel Blondin Andrew both fought for their own sobriety years ago. They describe how they see the situation today.
What I'm hearing that's very alarming is we talked about recreational drugs before and the use of alcohol and the social diaspora there. This is different. This is something that will destroy the base of any community, economically, socially, medically, culturally, you name it. It is a destroyer.
Well, I see it slowly becoming like my family. You know, I see my family starting to struggle with that also. And thinking about the children, you know, going to school. And that really bothers me when I see our youth struggling and having a hard time, because our youth don't have a voice, you know, so I like to be their voice for them. Well, lack of food, you know, if they do have money, they're spending it on the drugs, and the youth are being neglected that way, and so I see that happening in our region, yeah.
It's demand that feeds that industry. People need a supply. People will do anything to get a fix. And it's very dangerous. We now have guns involved. We have automatic weapons that are being involved. That's we're right on the cusp of what happens when you have neighborhoods or places that have a combination of drugs, irrational thinking, as well as greed, as well as just a lack of concern about others, and a tendency for violence to be involved. Things can go so wrong if somebody gets shot, and if they threaten each other. People are extorting each other. People are doing whatever they can to sell their drugs, to move their product, and people do whatever they can to get them.
I guess I should say starting to become an epidemic. It's you're getting more and more drugs coming into the region. And I see it not only happening in the Sawtooth, but all over the north.
There has to be a movement by the people to take back their communities, take back their lifestyle and their safety, and just good governance in terms of social programs and other issues. I got together with Charles and talked to him about how every child, every person in the community has to take back the community.
Oh yes, we can overcome it. I spoke to individuals that were on the drug, and they beat it, so if they can beat it, others can do it too. Yeah, what I really want to tell them is, you know, as a leader in my region, I think about them, I'm concerned, and I really do care. You know, I really do care, and I want to help them any way I can. You know, as a leader, I figure it's my duty to help those that are struggling. You know, so you know, I'm concerned, and I really want to help them combat the problem.
You heard McNeely say that the Sawtooth is not alone in this problem, and he wants Northerners to work together on it. He sent a letter to other NWT Indigenous leaders calling for cooperation. McNeely says he started by calling Sawtooth leaders together at the beginning of March. Two cycling experts from Finland are in Whitehorse right now. They're from the winter cycling capital of the world, and they're here to teach Northerners how to build better bike infrastructure. Katrin Pilkington made up with them.
North of 60, the idea of getting through a winter without four-wheel drive is a tough sell. But today, two Finnish cyclists have traveled thousands of kilometers to do just that. Earlier this afternoon, they met with Whitehorse's transportation department to discuss ideas and offer suggestions about how to increase winter cycling in the Yukon.
Yeah, I think that the easiest thing to tell them is that they need to build more cycling infrastructure. So now you guys have only a couple of kilometers like multi-use trails, and well, you need to build more cycling-specific infrastructure.
Yeah, and especially protected, separated from motor traffic, so that it's separated by a wide margin, so that you have space for snow in between there, and the users can feel safe when they're walking, when they're cycling, when they're kick-sledding, whatever they want to do there.
For example, in Oulu, Finland, I think that the weather conditions, the climate is pretty similar as here in Whitehorse, and still more than 20% of all the trips in Oulu are made by bike. So the cycling modal share is roughly around 20%, and that's basically because the city has built proper cycling infrastructure.
I saw one of the policies that you have is to make sure that all of the bike lanes are plowed first and then the roads, which I thought was delightful, but I just imagined there would be riots if that was the policy here. And or do you have a thought?
Yeah, so why? So if everybody has those big trucks and so on, so how could a couple of centimeters of snow possibly hinder them?
The visit was arranged by the Cycling Association of Yukon and made possible with a grant from the city of Whitehorse. Is there anything that you've heard from our Finnish friends that surprised you?
No, I mean, I think I've been a fairly keen follower of what's been happening there. I think what surprised me was the mode share of 20%. I didn't realize it was that high. That is astounding.
Pearson said he's happy with the progress he's seen on active transportation infrastructure in Whitehorse, but he hopes a meeting with global experts will inspire the city to dream bigger. The two will be holding a public talk at the Canada Game Centre later this evening. They're hoping to inspire and share their love for year-round cycling with Canada's North. Katrin Pilkington, CBC News, Whitehorse.
When my grandfather, Charlie Chaplin, first arrived in Hollywood, it was a place of dreams. But my grandfather clashed with some very powerful forces in America.
Are you a member of the Communist Party? Stand away from the stand!
I'm Una Chaplin. This is Hollywood Exiles. It's about a war of ideas that tore apart friendships, ended careers, and affected families like mine.
Hollywood Exiles, available now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Invalton contest is open. You can read, speak, sing, or do a skit in the dialect of your choice. And you can even use filters like this one. Unanutchuk. Buvraganetuk. This is a seal. It's going to swim.
Does public transit really need more police officers? And so this is it.
Welcome to the Greenbelt.
It is now believed that Titan was destroyed. It makes sense that they get a larger share, or does it?
All of this, just single detached homes.
Yes.
What do we know? How is that even possible? Well, with a little bit of help, I think we can explain it.
About That with Andrew Chang. Watch free on CBC Gem.
Bad hair days. We all have them.
Even as scientists, I think I know my place. It's not making art.
What? This is a whale?
That's incredible.
I'm piloting a boat in the fjords of Norway. I love this job.
You never listen to me.
You never think things through.
Your honeymoon phase is officially over. We never had a honeymoon phase.
You really gonna make me say it?
Oh, yeah.
Fine. I need you, Max.
So much drama. I love it. You ever get tired of that? Stop it. Get tired of that.
The Canadian military has a staffing shortage. It expects to need nearly 8,000 more members by the end of its fiscal year, which is next month. In an effort to bolster its ranks, the Canadian Forces has opened its doors to permanent residents, but only a tiny fraction of those who have applied are being accepted. Ashley Burke explains why.
Jamal Ludin wants to serve the country that took him in. He's from Afghanistan and escaped aboard an American military plane after Kabul fell to the Taliban. Eventually, he came to Canada, where he's now a permanent resident.
I want to be a part of this society because they helped me in my very bad situations.
The military has made no secret it's desperate for new recruits.
Given the significant number of demands around the world, there's just not enough Canadian forces to be able to do everything.
Sign in the box. And so in 2022, the military opened its doors to permanent residents to help fill thousands of vacant jobs. But CBC News has learned while more than 21,000 permanent residents applied to join the regular forces, within a year, only 77 were accepted.
I frankly think it's not good enough, and it's potentially an opportunity lost.
The process takes time.
The commander overseeing recruitment says permanent residents often require an extra level of security screening.
Certainly it's frustrating, and we feel those frustrations. We have to be a combat capable force, and so standards matter, and when we're When you're dealing with sensitive military equipment in a national security environment, those factors are really important.
The military says it can take up to 2 years to process permanent residence, but just 3 months for Canadian citizens.
It makes that check, sort of background check, much easier than somebody that comes in with 20 years in a different country.
Faced with those long delays, 15,000 permanent residents have walked away. Luden is hanging on, for now doing odd jobs to support his sisters here in Canada, thinking of his mother and brother who died in Afghanistan and how he wants to make them proud.
My family always want to see me in my uniform.
The defense minister has asked the department to look at allowing permanent residents to serve on a probationary basis while they wait for their security checks to be completed. The department says the military is considering it. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
It's officially tax season in Canada. As of today, Revenue Canada has opened its portals, allowing you to file your 2023 tax returns. Most of us, though, will have to wait a while longer to gather all the necessary documents before filing. And there's some additional paperwork if you want to claim some deductions for the time you spent working from home. Anis Haydari has the details.
If you worked from home last year, your taxes might be a bit trickier this time around. An easy, flat rate deduction for the home office has gone away. Canadians must now specifically itemize work from home costs, like they did before the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now you're going through what the government calls a detailed method, which means that you have to now detail your eligible expenses. And these include your rent, these include electricity, heating, utilities, these include home internet, and some basic supplies, but not much.
The CRA needs employers to sign a form confirming you worked from home. It could mean more paperwork for Canadians, since it also requires calculating how much of the home's square footage is used for work. Another change for tax filers, deductions for the first home savings account.
Your contributions to the FHSA are tax deductible, while your withdrawals, as long as you use them for the down payment of a purchase of your first home, are tax-free.
Money put into one of those accounts before December 31st will be a new deduction on this round of taxes. But existing homeowners may be out of luck. You can only use the FHSA if you haven't bought a home in the past 4 years. That's for that work from home tax credit. While rent is eligible, mortgage payments usually aren't. The tax deadline for most individuals in Canada is the end of April. Anis Haydari, CBC News, Calgary.
There are growing calls for the government to take action on an insidious form of inflation. It allows manufacturers to disguise significant price hikes by charging the same amount for less product. Several countries are taking steps to expose the practice, but so far, Canada isn't one of them. Sophia Harris has more.
You may have noticed it. Perhaps your box of cereal doesn't last as long as it used to, or there seems to be fewer chips in your chip bag. They call it shrinkflation, and that's when companies shrink the size or weight of a product, but not the price. Often, companies also make few changes to the packaging, making shrinkflation really hard to detect. And that really annoys a lot of shoppers, including Pepper Brooks. She recently bought a bottle of Dawn dish soap, and she happened to have an older bottle of Dawn in her cupboard. And when she compared the two, she discovered the new bottle contained 20% less soap. Despite the difference, she had paid the same amount for each bottle.
There was like no notification. There wasn't anything to tell me as a consumer that I'm getting less.
She's not the only one fed up with shrinkflation. A recent poll found 64% of Canadians surveyed said the practice is unacceptable. So what can be done about it? Well, some countries are already regulating shrinkflation. In Brazil, companies must note on packaging when they shrink a product, and next month, Hungary will introduce similar legislation. South Korea and France are also working on regulations. Some shoppers and experts feel the Canadian government should also get in on the act.
Canadian regulators and policymakers really ought to look at this. Why can't they put a little asterisk, a little window box on the packaging at the front of pack and just indicate it has been changed?
However, the federal government has given no indication it's considering targeted legislation. It told me that it's currently studying the practice, so any possibility of government action on this in Canada is going to be a long way off. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Vancouver.
It's getting easier to get your hands on an electric vehicle, but even though there's more supply, there may be other roadblocks holding consumers back. Nisha Patel went to Toronto's auto show to check things out.
Electric vehicle price tags still give many consumers sticker shock.
It costs too much. If the battery goes, it's a quarter of the cost of the car.
One of the cheapest new options costs a little more than $42,000. It's being shipped to provinces where demand is higher because of government rebates.
The vehicle will be available initially in British Columbia and Quebec to take advantage of the most aggressive EV incentives in the country.
The Atlantic provinces and the Yukon also offer rebates, and there's a $5,000 federal incentive that helps bring down the cost of buying an EV. Even then, most EVs are still more expensive than vehicles that run on gas.
As more and more electric vehicles are sold, we would expect that costs would follow as well.
The pressure is on for traditional automakers to offer more affordable options. Chinese company BYD is making moves to launch in North America. Its models are priced at less than $20,000 in Asia. BYD already outsells Tesla globally. For now, advocates say consumers need to look beyond the price tag and factor in fuel savings and incentives.
But they're not doing the math on how much the total cost of ownership is. And if you do that math, you'll see that actually driving an EV is almost always cheaper.
The initial spike in electric vehicle sales was fueled by early adopters eager to switch. But it'll be harder to convince mainstream consumers to take EVs for a spin.
Well, until I start seeing more charging stations, I think I would probably wait.
I don't think, to me, they're quite up to snuff yet for the market. They need more time.
Automakers, though, don't have long to phase out cars and trucks that run on gas. The federal government says that all new vehicles sold must be zero emission by 2035. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Dog owners in Yellowknife learned how to perform canine first aid on their beloved pets over the weekend. This course covered dog CPR, broken bones, and more. Yellowknifer Jessica Morris was the instructor. Participants practiced on large stuffed dogs, and they talked about seizures, stomach problems, and health issues that affect all dog sizes. Morris also taught people with dogs when dogs should see a vet right away or if they can wait for an appointment. Morris says it's important information in a region with a big vet shortage. Some extraordinary video has been captured by a drone in China. It shows a wolf pack foraging through deep snow. The Xinjiang region has been blanketed with heavy snowfall recently, making it difficult for animals to get around. Lead wolves can be seen tunneling under the snow there, creating a path for the rest of the pack. Wildlife officials are keeping a close eye on the weather to ensure the safety of animals in the region. And that is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, you can always go to our website, cbc.ca/north. Thank you for watching. I'm Megan Roberts. Have a good night.
Closing this case gets you one step closer to you getting back on the squad and keeping you out of prison.
You're not a detective, you're a con artist. You have a driver's license, right?
Of course, I'm 9. If you couldn't be a cop, what would you be?
Nothing. My dad raised me to be a cop. That's who I am. Stay here.
You're adorable.
You guys are making this entire station look like a circus.
He's busy trying to solve a murder. What are you doing?
Thanks for having my back.
Look at you.
Is this your girlfriend?
This is not my
girlfriend. She's way too cool to be your girlfriend. She's not way too cool to be my girlfriend.
Nineteen 40 dalawam 50 saling luwang kalawang kemak tualo lakalawam pilatok talawam wakalaw yalak sumatan sibulak tak pilatok tawam pilakta si malak sang wiglak tawak sang magama.
My name is Amanda Paris, and I am constantly thinking about culture, race, and social issues. So I want to push these conversations forward.
We found that there was animal meat fat in plastic synthetic hair.
There was a time where I'm like, should I have kids because the kids are going to be black?
I've been fired from my dream job. What's the worst that can happen now?
Now is the time to take the group chat to the real world. A 6-part series. This is For the Culture.
Watch free on CBC Gem.
Treaty in Cree is Naskometoin, an oral agreement. And our agreements were always spoken. For George Spence, the core of treaty was Wichihioin, to help one another.
And so we, the commissioners...
He was there for the making of Treaty 9, where the Cree were told...
We will honor this agreement together, for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow.
The Cree made their mark because they were assured that the land would be shared, and they would always be able to harvest what they needed. George Spence was my great-grandfather. In his life, he saw many promises of the treaty go unfulfilled.
Treaties were essential to the creation of Canada. First Nations still fight for the agreements to be honored.
Hey, you're some friends, aren't you? Stand here and now you try and blackmail her. You disgust me. Every one of you.
Coronation Street. Watch free on CBC Gem.
We've won the costume contest every year.
Bunny! Oh, they're squishing me. What have we done?
And he can lift anything. Anything at all. He's that strong.
Joe Schuster, will you stop it or you'll miss your train? Now help me find number 5.
Strong, but by day he's a mild-mannered reporter. Glasses, you know, a secret identity.
Honestly, you Canadian kids.
He'd be in this cape.
A what?
A cape. Wearing these blue tights.
A hero in tights, really. Here it is.
Listen, Lois, this guy is faster than anything, I swear.
If you're not fast, you're gonna miss your train.
That's it. A bullet. A bullet. He's faster. No, he's faster than a speeding bullet.
Come on, get on it. No one's gonna read a comic strip about a strong man in tights, Joe. It'll never fly.
Fly, no. But he can leap over tall buildings. Oh, wow, yeah.
See what your cousin Frank says in Toronto.
Wait, Lois. I've got something for you. Here, take it. It's a gift. You never know. It might be worth something someday. Is he great or what? Bye-bye, Lois.
Whoa, what is this?
Crazy things have been happening.
Ghosting.
Ghosting. Watch free on CBC Gem.
My grandfather, Charlie Chaplin, clashed with some very powerful forces in America.
Are you a member of the Communist Party?
I'm Una Chaplin. This is Hollywood Exiles.
News you can trust. Delivered when you want, where you want. On Canada's News app.
Download the free CBC News app.